Imagine this, a peloton without the cheeky grin of Tadej Pogačar tucked behind his Oakleys. No effortless attacks, no jaw-dropping descents, no more memes about how he just rides away like he forgot to tell the group ride he's not actually human. Just silence. Pogačar-less. Slovenian flair-free silence. Yes, the mere idea of Tadej uttering the word retirement is enough to send the cycling world spiraling into emotional disarray. Now, we're not saying he's hanging up the cleats tomorrow, but when the 25-year-old phenom casually mentioned in a slightly awkward tone that his contract runs, quote, until 2030, when asked about retirement, well, cue the sirens. Twitter exploded, group chats ignited, forums went full DEFCON mode. Because in pro cycling, a quote, my contract ends in, isn't just a statement, it's a test for fans, analysts, and over-caffeinated keyboard technicians. Does he want to retire then? Is he planning a big post-2030 mic drop? Will we get a final Tour de France farewell stage with Pogačar wheeling across the Champs-Élysées like Peter Sagan on espresso? It's understandable. Tadej Pogačar is the golden boy of modern cycling. He's charismatic, aggressive, unpredictable, and in the right ways. And somehow still genuinely likable while being alarmingly dominant. Watching him race is like watching jazz on two wheels. Smooth, improvisationable, and full of controlled chaos. So when that guy talks about the end, however distant it is, fans start writing emotional obliques for an era that hasn't even ended. This introduction is your official ticket aboard the panic train, as we examine what that 2030 comment might mean, how retirement actually works in the pro peloton, and whether Tadej's love for the bike can survive another 5 years of pressure, crashes, and Belgium cobbles. Grab your espresso and your favourite team cap, because we're going to figure out the most overanalyzed, over-dramatised, and absolutely necessary news regarding these statements. The awkward moment. Pogačar's retirement response. In a recent interview and chat with other cyclists, Tadej Pogačar was asked about his retirement plans. His response? A hesitant mention of his contract running until 2030. This moment, captured on camera, left fans speculating about the future of this guy. Was this a genuine hint at retirement or just an offhand comment? The mechanics of pro cycling contracts. Professional cycling contracts are complex, often including clauses that allow for early termination or extension based on performance, health, and mutual agreement. Pogačar's contract with UAE Team Emirates, extended until 2030, is one of the longest in the sport, reflecting how valuable this guy is and how they don't want to just chuck him away or sell him on. Passion versus burnout. Does Pogačar still love cycling? Despite the pressures of professional cycling, Pogačar has consistently expressed his love for the sport. In statements following his contract extension, he mentioned feeling at home with UAE Team Emirates and his excitement for future competitions. However, the recent interview has led to questions about whether the relentless demands of the sport are beginning to take their toll on his body. After all, he seems to have been racing a lot lately. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Preparing for a star's departure. Team strategies. When a high-profile athlete like Pogačar hints at retirement, teams must strategize for the future. This includes nurturing young talent, adjusting sponsorship deals, and planning for leadership transitions. UAE Team Emirates has been proactive in this regard, securing long-term contracts with promising riders like Juan Ayuso and Isaac Del Toro, ensuring the team's competitiveness in the years to come even after Pogačar leaves. If Tadej Pogačar announced his retirement tomorrow, the cycling world would crumble like a poorly packed Mercedes bag on a cobbled descent. Fans, they'd go absolute insane. Slovenian Twitter would go into national mourning, cycling TikTok would spiral into chaotic tributes, slow-mo clips of Tadej soloing away from shattered pelotons set to emotional piano covers. Hardcore fans would turn his Strava page into a digital shrine. Someone would start a petition demanding that he be knighted before retirement. Meanwhile, a few delusional Twitter tacticians would claim that they, quote, saw it coming, because, quote, his pedal stroke looked off at the UAE tour. Team UAE Emirates, picture the management board sitting in a dark conference room, blinking in stunned silence. Mauro Gianetti drops his espresso. Their golden goose, the guy who sells jerseys, wins tours, and makes every team launch video vaguely watchable, he's gone. Sporting directors would scramble to review the contracts of every promising 19-year-old Slovenian in a 500-kilometer radius. Press releases would be released at 3 a.m, full of vague phrases like end of an era and legacy unmatched, while behind the scenes, someone is trying to bribe Remco Evenepoel with oil money and unlimited hummus. His coaches? They'd be quietly weeping in the team car. No more Watts, no more watching their prize student ride away from the field while barely in zone 3. They'd look at their Training Peaks dashboard, empty of Pogačar's data, and whisper, he used to give us 6.8 watts per kilo for fun. And for the rest of the peloton, honestly, mixed emotions. Relief mostly. Quote, finally, we might win something, Wild Earth said. Well, he didn't say that, but he'd probably end up saying that. Jonas Vingegaard, somewhere in the Alps right now, would just crack a smile and quietly high-five himself. Because if Tadej walked away, the sport gets a whole lot more open, and a lot less entertaining though. Let's take a moment to speculate wildly and frankly unreasonably about what Tadej might do if he retired. He'll have newfound free time and probably will feel a bit lost for the first couple of weeks. Number 1. Embrace the ordinary life. First, there's the chance that he might just do the unthinkable, become a regular dude. You know, one of those people who doesn't ride 10,000 kilometers a year for a living. Imagine him waking up at 7:30, having breakfast with a bowl of cornflakes, and taking the bus to buy a loaf of bread. Could you even picture it? Of course, he'd still be overly competitive at the bakery, trying to out-sprint the elderly lady for the last croissant. But still, in this theory, Pogačar would embrace a quieter life. Maybe a loving family, DIY house projects, and watching the tour from his sofa. He'd probably start a podcast about cycling, where he casually discusses what went wrong with his Grand Tour victories. You know, that one time that he came second in a race, like the Tour de France for example. Real shame that. Number 2. Become a personal trainer for cyclists who can't get their act together. Let's be honest, Pogačar is so effortlessly fit. It's almost like he was built in a Slovenian lab to crush everyone's hopes and dreams. After retirement, maybe he'll start coaching those riders who really need help and want to improve. We're talking about the kind of cyclists who still believe they can, quote, just train more and magically become tour winners. Pogačar would look at their poorly executed sprint intervals, sigh deeply, and give them a motivational talk. You're trying too hard. Look, I woke up, did 30 minutes of zone 2, and called it a day. It's about efficiency, my friend. He'd hand out motivational mugs that say things like, win a stage, lose a teammate, repeat, and then casually drop his Strava comms into their training plans for fun. Number 3. Take over as the CEO of a cycling brand. Tadej, with his borderline godlike cycling prowess, would almost certainly end up as the CEO of a trendy, minimalist cycling brand. Picture him in an all-black suit, pitching the, quote, next big thing. Aerodynamic water bottles that are so light you'll forget they are there. And limited edition socks that promise to promote your watts by 0.3%, which is totally scientifically proven. His marketing team would consist of retired pros who just vaguely nod while he holds up the latest secret prototype bike. Quote, "It's the same as the old one, but with 1 gram less," he'd casually announce. Investors would be lining up for the Pogačar brand of cycling gear, hoping to catch a small whiff of his otherworldly talent. All jokes aside, Tadej really can do whatever he wants when he retires, but I do strongly believe that he will start either a coaching business or some kind of brand, because after all, in professional endurance sports, you really can't keep going into your mid or late 40s, and if you do, chances are it's going to be a whole lot harder and you won't be able to hold the big hitters at the front. But it is Pogačar, so who knows? But with the mention of his contract going to 2030, I don't know if he'll renew it or not. No doubt Team UAE would offer a renewal, but would Tadej want to do that? It depends. At the moment, he seems to be over-racing way too much in my opinion. Although he's doing well at the races, I think long term, racing every weekend for an entire month or two is just stupidly, just too much. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Maybe you think I'm completely wrong and I'm open to your comments and criticisms. Leave a like on today's video and subscribe if this is your first time here to stay up to date with the latest cycling news, cycling drama, and of course, cycling results. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next video.